Welcome back to another episode of the Gordon Yutmeyer Show. This is episode 4, and today's date is February 7th, 2025. And today's episode is going to be like the part 2 of episode 3. I really didn't get a chance to finish that episode the way I wanted it, just because I was kind of in a rush to get to where I was going. And so I didn't have enough time to really finish it. Plus, it was raining, and today it's cold out, sunny, and I'm in the car. Obviously, I think this is better scenery, and it's more personal for me to talk about things with you. So if I'm looking around, I'm getting distracted, but I'm also focused on talking about today's episode. So leading off with the last episode, episode 3, I was talking about the head and the snake of corruption in DC, right? And so what's happening right before our eyes is the the pace of Donald Trump's agenda, which I talked about in episode 3. But um, when I talked about the IRS being the head of corruption, I think it's one of many heads of corruption in DC, in federal government, especially our government. Um, and so that's one head of corruption that is um, causing more problems for the American people, like on a level that's like the first level. Um, and there's different increments and tiers, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 of corruption. And the one that impacts us the most is the IRS. Um, sorry guys, I gotta fix that. But um, the first one that's personal is the IRS because that affects our money, right? Um, the left side of things is saying that you know Donald Trump is going to cause a market crash, and with all these tariffs and tax cuts and stuff like that. What if, just hear me out, what if there isn't a market to crash? Uh, you might be looking at me like, dude, you don't know what you're talking about, and that might be true. This is my opinion. This is my view. Um, but what if the stock market and the IRS and the Treasury committed treason, um, and it's 415. God, I can't talk today. 415, ugh, 415. I can't say it. Anyway, you know what I mean. Good Lord. Um, the the money system, the system that we are on, and what if the law? This is questions that obviously you can answer or go search for yourself, but this is just what I've been finding out myself. Um, I think all that's going to vanish. We're going to have a new system. Is it going to be better? Probably not. I mean, it's not. It's going to be better than what we have now. Um, the fact that Doge and Elon Musk is just now getting into Medicare and Medicaid with the Treasury and the USAID. Um, so yeah, I think there's more to come, more corruption to be unfolded, and that it's on a personal level. The IRS is on a personal level, so is the stock market because obviously that tell us what the future is going to hold, right? And so, what if that system vanishes because it committed the highest crime in our laws of the United States, and it vanishes if we put on a new system? Do in the previous episode, I talked about if there was going to be like a stimulus check or one check, and then you do with what you want with it. Excuse me, but I think it's going to be something like that. I don't think it's going to be because they stole millions and millions of dollars from you, me, your mom, your sister, your dad, your brother, your cousins, your second cousin's grandfather's mom. A lot of people, right? Um, and so there's so many people connected to this being affected by this corruption and fraud. They have to basically reset the whole level playing field. Um, Now that doesn't mean like the million years and all that stuff um, are going to be put back down to our level, right? I don't think that's going to be the case. I think, like I said earlier about how there's different tiers of corruption. I think they reset it, and you are like a tax bracket. Um, Depending on what you can build with yourself, what you inspire and go achieve goals with. So, for example, I commit myself more and more with this podcast, which I've said I will, but just an example, and it's paying off slowly, or it takes off like that, right? Um, that would be a tier of maybe tier one is the highest, so tier five is the lowest. I'll put five. So tier five is um, basically people like me or entrepreneurs and all that stuff, and they're starting out with a level playing field, and whatever I make, I go into a certain tax bracket, and say the revenue that I make on this podcast, on a good podcast, the revenue that I get in is, say, um, I want to say 50,000, right? For 50,000, I get 6,000. I think that's how you do it, right? How do you do that? Five. Okay, 60,000. I think the math is there. You get 6,000 a month, tax free, right? The only way um, I see that, I don't think there'll be any taxes. Tax free, the base pay. You take the 6,000, you go make double. It's kind of like the parable of I give you so many talents in the Bible, the parables where hey, I give you 5 talents, I give you 3 talents and 1 talent. See what you can do with it. I think that's going to be the level that's going to happen, right? There's going to be an opportunity. Be like, okay, here's the flow of money. Do what you can. So now, um, say 60,000, 6,000, or is it 6,000? What's 5,000? I think that's what it is. 5,000 um, a month. I go into the second year. Okay, so I'm at 5. I'm building up my portfolio and all that stuff, and I make more than 60,000 in 2 years. I go from 6,000 to 100,000. Now that's obviously, what is it? 12, let's see, 25,000. Is that quarterly? 12 divided by 100,000, whatever that is. Hey, let's do it right now. Let's see, calculator. So 100,000. So you get 8,000. So you get put in tier 4 now. You level up, basically. You did what you needed to do to profit and make better in your life, and you're kind of self promoting yourself, right? So you go to tier 4. Well, that says it's $8,333 dollars per month or whatever, right? Then on the jump that you just made, so I went from 60 to 40. 10% of 40 is 4,000. You increase. There's a percentage increase to that 8,000. That's an incentive of going to tier 4, right? Um, because you're making more money, you're doing more for yourself. Now, this is all hypothetical. This is just my opinion. Then, say you go, it takes 5 years to go from 100,000 to 130,000, and then you continue. It takes 5 years to go from 100,000 to 130,000. Um, you still get that incentive of on top of the 8,000. I'm just talking out of my head. Does it make sense? Does it look good on paper? I don't know. Um, but you get the idea of that tiers and stuff. You keep moving up and stuff. And so if you become a millionaire, that's like 10-year tier 1. Billionaires, same thing. You promote yourself. You have an incentive, an obligation to make better of yourself. It's not allowing people to be lazy, because um, with that universal or monthly paycheck that comes in, people would just stop building what America is. And so um, I think that would be the case. There won't be a stock market um, as we know it for the last 100 years. Um, I think we're going back to the time before 1913. That's what Trump wants us to go back to, right? Where we got off the Federal Reserve and the revenue, the IRS. And so that happens. And let's see. From there, I think what's going to happen, and this is all in the next 5 years. Um, I think people are going to realize how the economy is just going to turn on its head. Trump just put back the 2017 tax tax cuts back in order. Back in um, he's forcing it again, which is good. No tax on incomes, no tax on social security. Um, and I think eventually there's going to be no tax on income. Um, by the end of the year, I really think uh, something's going to switch for the American people, where they're going to be like, look, my money, I'm putting 40, 60, 70 hours a week or a month or every 2 weeks, and I'm not getting the best out of my money because it's being sent to something else because it's fraud. And the Democratic Party is not a Democratic Party. It's a full out socialist, um, full out socialist party now. And there's nothing left of the Democratic Party. Um, and so with that, what going back to what was I saying? I just had to make my mind went blank. And so um, what's going to end up happening is people are going to realize, there's so much fraud going on. There's going to be a precise moment that people are going to be like, look, I want my money back because it's not going to anything that I'm approved of. Taxation was never the key for American people at all. And so I think, like I said, we're going to go back to before 1913. Um, we're going to have a lot of money. This is going to be the golden age of America, um, because I don't think Doge and Elon is stopping just at the USAID. He put Donald Trump approved Secretary of State Marco Rubio to be head of that agency. And what's ended up happening is he's decreased that portion of agency from 10,000 to roughly 300. So that's going to continue. I think the IRS, I think they're done for. I believe they are on a system that has faded out. A lot of people are realizing that. Um, I don't think. I think something's going to happen. Something's going to be revealed in these uh, revealings and revelations of those that people are going to call for the IRS to give their money back. And also, um, people are, I don't, I think, I'm not no financial expert, so don't take my advice, but my opinion is people shouldn't file taxes until we find out what's going to happen. Get an extension, because I think if you're going to file, I mean, it's going to be, yes, you're going to get your money back if that's the case, but I think if you file for this year, it's going to take a little bit longer because you just did it. So people should extend their deadline for filing taxes and see what happens after, I think it's April 15th or something like that, right? So then um, Elon is going to continue doing that. Trump's still going to do executive orders to get things going, get stuff. I believe at the, like I said, the pace that things are going, there's so much being revealed that people are not going to be able to be caught up with all the corruption, and it's going to really shock. They those revealed that the USAID was funding up to $200,000 Jeffrey Epstein's bank account up till 2023. He killed himself supposedly in 2019. Why is Jeffrey Epstein still getting money from an agency that, it's just shocking that people are not shocked by that? Like, when I read that and heard that they are paying 200 something thousand to a dead person's account up to 2023, which was just 2 years ago, it just makes me wonder, did the government really cover up Epstein's death to keep him alive, to stop the back channels of exposure? And maybe that's why, Hunter Laptop and Biden and all these celebrities and whatever push Kamala to get into office, um, so things won't get revealed as they are now, about to be. I think uh, the AG, Pam Bondi, I think she is requesting to unclassify the Epstein's list. Um, and that's going to be a lot. Now, the JFK files and RFK files and MLK files, I haven't seen anywhere he classify them, but I haven't seen anywhere where he set a date. Maybe someone in here can tell me and comment that, hey, it's getting released in March, or it's going to be released in a couple months. Um, and so and there's a lot to talk about with what's going on. Epstein getting paid to 2023. Um, and he wants to make the Gaza Strip and take it away from Israel, which is a little bit shocking, because it it would stop the war that Israel. It's going to come out to where we are funding, obviously, wars. I mean, Sean Penn, some of these celebrities that went to Ukraine to give um, Ukraine's president so much money and all that stuff and say, hey, we are with you, was all paid by our government through the USAID agency, right? Department. And that's getting revealed. I think it's going to come out that um, our money paid for both sides of the war, all the wars from 2000 to now. You talk about Afghanistan, Iraq, Iran, um, Pakistan, Yemen, um, the Russia, Ukraine, Israel, Hamas. Um, all these wars were funded both sides by our government. Was it the CIA? Probably 50 of it. But I believe that somehow there is some type of fraud in there, some type of corruption, that people are going to be like, okay, so we sent our people, our soldiers, our family members, our brothers, our sisters, our cousins, our uncles, aunts, our grandfathers, whoever, into these wars that you paid both sides of the party for. So I don't get why people are not more upset that they funded Ukraine war through these incentives for celebrities. You'd be like, well, that's what it's there for. No, Sean Penn is, and a few others. Ben Stiller, I think it was. Don't know. Um, got these kickbacks from that department, the USAID, for going over there. They're already making money. They're millionaires. They don't need to be making more than what they already have. It's all a stunt to get people on Ukraine's side. Now, rumor has it too that I don't know how true this is. Like, um, there is a plan being revealed next week between Putin, Zelensky, can't say his name, and Trump to end the Ukraine war. And the plan is to annex the 4 territories that Russia already took over. Um, the Ukraine is barred, absolutely banned from joining NATO at all, at whatever cost. Then Europe is going to be the DMZ zone for both sides parties, so that way America's not involved in um, escalating things or have interests that um, are going to make it seem like we're paying, like now, like we're paying both sides of the war. Because Trump says we're not going to give you any more money. That's what he said to the president of Ukraine, and he said, "Hey, unless you're going to give up some minerals and some earthly minerals and some items from your country and pay your side back, because we give them close to what $2.4 billion in the last 3 years, and they haven't paid a dime back." And it's come to find out too that in one of these interviews, that only like 60, I might be wrong on this, 60 to 70% was actually given to Ukraine, but the other half went missing. So why are we sending money that they're not even getting 100% of? So I think there's a leak. I don't know how true it is. There's a leaked plan to end the war next week, for the Ukraine war, which is going to be beneficial for both parties, for everyone, because the killing stops, right? So the war stops. NATO can't get Ukraine. Ukraine can't get NATO. And then the U.S. pulls out and say, "Hey, we have no interest now. We can't be the ones motivating, provoking Russia to invade Ukraine again, because Europe is going to be part of it. That's going to be their part in play and playing this thing and paying for what they haven't paid, for the war, right?" Um, what else? Uh, you got Ukraine, the Gaza Strip that Trump wants to take over, call it the MAGA Strip. Um, Elon doing more things, and it came to find out too. The Treasury, um, I think it's called the Secretary of Treasury, is in charge of the Treasury, obviously. Said that all the employees of Doge is employed for the U.S. AID and Treasury, so there's no bias, um, in working for Elon, and they're doing it for free, and that's the thing. And also, they made it somehow. Someone made a joke about doxing or revealing the names, and the names were Big Balls, Harry, Harry Balls, and stuff like that, and they were making fun of the media. Well, CNN and other places took upon themselves to make an issue out of that. And I wish I could show the video, but it's out there already. You could go look it up, and there's memes everywhere that, Big Balls is ruining, our economy, and they're not helping USA ID in foreign countries anymore. Blah blah blah, because uh, Big Balls is too controlling. Whatever case might be, it's hilarious. Shout out to Seven Brew, a blondie, um, extra caramel drizzle. But yeah, um, so I thought that was funny seeing that. And that's the thing. The left doesn't have anything to stand on. Um, I don't see. I mean, how do you support sending dildos to a foreign country? I know I'm talking crazy like that. Or sending condoms to Gaza, or paying for, um, it's a Sesame Street show in Iraq. Some common ones that have been mentioned already. And it wouldn't be surprised if there was a gas station, I think, in Afghanistan that was like or like $30 million, something like that we built in Afghanistan, that it's not being used. We're still paying for it. I think he ended it. Um, Trump did, but we paid for a gas station that no one used, no one got access to. So why did we put it there? What's the connection there? Were they hiding something there? That's the question. Might be something. And again, let me re- uh, remind people that Elon, they're saying that he's taking control, of things, and he's not been elected to any official job, right? That's not the case. He's not elected. That's true. He's not elected. He is a recommendation to Trump. Trump is the final say into what is done. What he is doing is he's taking the mask, that meme of Scooby Doo or whatever, where they take the mask off and be like, "Oh, that's really you." That's what he's doing with the fraud and corruption with the United States funding in the Treasury. He's just taking it and be like, look, this is what we been paying and stuff. We shouldn't be paying for these things. Your taxpayer dollars are going to something that's useless, basically pointless and useless to the American people. Elon doesn't have the final say. He's just exposing what the left has been doing, and um, and he got security clearance too, so that's a good thing. Also, like I said, what is being reported, things got blocked for the federal deadline to a buyout. It's up to 60,000 people, which is good. Is downgrading the government, which is what Trump wants. A union group has come out and sued and pushed for a delay, which I think it got approved to Monday, um, for the buyout. Now, and I think that's the thing. It's either you take the buyout or you're fired, and um, so it's up to 60,000. 60,000, and it's probably going to grow, right? I think we're going to. So I think Department of Education, Department of this and that is going to be taken away, ended, vanished, and the people that have taken our money is going to be prosecuted, and they're going to be charged with fraud and treason. And I guess I don't know how true this is, but Pam Bondi, the Attorney General, has requested, along with some other senators and uh, Congress people, has suggested bringing back the execution. I, I forget. Um, the death penalty. That's what it is. Like if you do treason on any levels of whatever, you get the death penalty automatically. What does that mean for the people that have committed fraud? I think are going to get the death penalty. I think people are going to go to jail, and we're going to get some type of refund back. I think we're going to get. Now it could be years of getting refunds, because I know if they do a lump sum of, say, you know, I've been paying taxes since 19, so let's see, 11 years. So 11 years of pay is a lot of years, and to calculate that and do a rough estimate of how much taxes I paid and how much I would get back. So I think it would be a 10-year thing. Like I said, it could be monthly, it could be yearly, and those incentives would be, hey, if you build off and go after your dreams and take, I don't know how to describe it. I'm trying to find something that's like a block, but like a building block. You start out, everyone starts out with one block, and you take that block and it's financial revenue, financial freedom. You go and build something. You are able, like Lego pieces, you able to see what Lego pieces fits as you build on, and then you can spread out and make a tree um, of financial gain, revenue, and grow from there. That's the original American dream, and what Elon said in the uh, Doge space session on Twitter Monday was, look, back then people were able to build when they say they wanted to build. They didn't need a permit. They didn't need this. They didn't need that. So many regulations. So I think that's going to be taken off of our shoulders, and it's an equal playing field. Um, uh, and it's your responsibility to grow. It's going to be your responsibility for to grow your personal financial gains, but also your family. Build a family, let them get dividends off of what you created in years down the road, so it can be passed on, um, and stuff like that. I don't know what's going to happen. Obviously, I don't know the future, but it's leaning more to we're not going to have an IRS. We're not going to have a USAID. We will, but it's not going to be like it is now. Um, we're not going to pay taxes at all, on anything. I think it'd be a base rate, and that's what's going to be based on everything. Um, and to finish up this episode, I just want to know, what do you think? Is this logical? Am I talking crazy that what I said earlier in this episode? Is it crazy to believe that? I don't know. I think it's possible. It's going to take a lot of work. I think that's why he's doing it so quickly. He has 4 years to get this done, and then see what happens in the next year. I think we're not going to have an IRS next year. I don't think we're going to have to file taxes later this year. What is your opinion? Let me know in the comments, on Spotify, wherever you get this episode. And also, I think I'm going to post it on YouTube, LinkedIn, some other podcast places that I can post this podcast at. So if you, wherever you see this podcast, leave a comment below and see how crazy I sound talking about the IRS and the taxes and the corruption that's been revealed already. I appreciate it. This is the Gordon Yutmeyer Show. Till next time.